Alrighty guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video, where we are back for another Who Should You BT Plus video. And in this video, we are going to be covering Kam and Paladin Cecil. Now, both of these two characters, they're going to be getting reworks, their C90s, their BT Pluses, and then Kam shall be receiving his FR weapon. Now, if you haven't been to any of my previous Who Should You BT Plus videos, basically what we do here is me and my good friend Kaiden, we talk about the pros and cons for these two units. We talk about their upcoming reworks and what new things they are going to be getting. Towards the end of the video, we also talk about the banners themselves and let you know which one has better value over the other. And then of course we will end it off with letting you guys know what our plans are going to be for this pair of BT units. So let us know down in the comment section below what your plans are going to be for Paladin Cecil and or Kam. If you're going to be BT plusing them, are you going to be pulling for them, passing up on them, whatever it is, let us know down in the comment section below. And of course, make sure to check out Kaiden's channel. His link will be down in the description of this video. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we'll first start off with Paladin Cecil's rework to his skill 1, which gains 3 uses. It now increases party brave by 50% of max brave, and then deals a 6-hit holy melee brave plus an HP attack 3 times that increases brave by 50% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last, and deals 50% splash damage. His light slash attack, which is the brave command change, turns into an 8-hit holy melee brave plus an HP attack that increases brave by 50% of the HP damage dealt. His skill 2 also gains 3 uses. It increases brave by 50% of max brave, then deals a 4-hit AoE holy ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack 4 times that increases brave by 50% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. His Luminous Blast attack, which is the HP command change, turns into a 5-hit holy range brave plus an HP attack 2 times that deals 50% splash damage. With his LD, he now starts off with his overhead at the start of the quest for 6 turns. It turns into a 3-hit AoE holy ranged brave plus an AoE HP attack 5 times that increases brave by 50% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. His overhead now adds a 30% party defense up, now totaling 150%, and a 10% party brave and HP damage up. With his C90, his EX ability turns into a 2-hit holy melee brave plus an HP attack 5 times that deals 50% splash damage after each HP attack and increases brave by 50% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. His EX buff adds a 20% brave damage up and a 10% HP damage dealt up. His C65 got extended to 7 turns and adds a 10% party attack up, now totaling 20%, and a 20% party brave damage up. Paladin Cecil can now BT plus his BT weapon and gains the following. At 2 out of 3, his BT effect got extended to 6 turns. For his BT effect, the following got added. Now, whenever party members whose HP is equal to or greater than 100% of their HP value, it adds a 30% to the brave damage cap up, now totaling 50%, and 20% to the max brave cap up, now totaling 30%. So now we're going to move into the pros and cons for Paladin Cecil, and we got our fantastic big brain tactician, Kaiden himself. Welcome back, man. How you doing?
Good to be here. I don't think my brain can get any bigger at this point. But it's actually really good to be here. Keeping the saga running. Let's get this underway. Yeah. All right. So first and foremost, we do have Paladin Cecil on the block first. We're going to be talking about his pros and cons, and as we're going through the pros, I'm also going to be talking about a couple of things as we go through this. So bear with me as we go through this. First pro, right off the bat. The greatest part about Paladin Cecil is that his utility is still there. Going from C80 to C90, this dude is pretty much loaded all the way through when it comes down to his defensive capabilities. There is also the fact that when it does come down to him as well, he still has the ability to holy enchant for the team. So paired well with his son as his call, instead of it being a generic holy defense down, you can actually make it a framed holy defense down, so that way you're actually able to keep that holy defense down for the team. And then the last one, right off the bat, he's very plug and play. Putting him in any team comp, he plays himself. The only thing you got to do is just press buttons. Literally just to keep buff up key with him. When it does come down to Paladin Cecil, he's very straightforward. There's nothing wrong with him in the slightest bit. However, we move into his con section, and he has a couple of cons, and it's all playing to how versatile his kit is. First and foremost, when you actually look at his kit, like, he is so good at his role that that's all he is. He is just there for his particular role. He has a lot of HP healing, a lot of overflow healing, and he has a very powerful regen. But like, his kit is based towards defensive aspect, not towards offensive aspect. It does have offensive auras built into it, but like, his actual personal damage is very underwhelming to some degree, so you have to be able to play around that. Like, he enables the others to hit harder. For his own personal setup, it's more for protecting the team and making sure that the team is healthy, versus his own damage overall. Then it goes into the next con for him too. The HP values matter here for his performances overall. If any teammate is going underneath the 100% marker for him, his auras leave that character. So you have to keep the team in tip-top condition in order to really make sure that everybody's going to be able to utilize his auras to the maximum. The last one that I really want to talk about is that with his BT effect, he actually got an update with his BT effect. So he now has 6 turns on his BT effect. His BT effect is very strong for the offensive category, or for his his offensive auras, but it is very short-winded. It is 6 turns. I would love for his BT effect to be longer, but unfortunately, it is just 6. If you BT plus him, and if you are going to be plussing him, you go from having 6 turns to 12 turns, so you have 2 turns of it, but I'm sorry, you have 2 uses of both of these 6s there, but even still, it is very short-winded, and you have to make sure that you're not letting him jump up on turn count, because he has, one of his skills has high turn rate, so he can actually pop back-to-back relatively quick. That's going to be not the greatest feeling when you can actually want to take advantage of his BT effect overall. But when it does come down to Paladin Cecil, with his C90 update, he got even better at his role, but his role is definitely more for defensive aspect now more than offensive aspect. With offensive aspects, we just have way better offensive aura bots when it comes down to that, but you'll never have a defensive aura bot as protective when it comes down to Paladin Cecil overall.
目覚めよ刻みつけよ我が剣で葬るさあ潔く消えろ
Now we'll take a look into Kam with his rework to his skill 1, which gains 3 uses. His Frostblade turns into a 5-hit Ice Melee Brave plus an HP attack 2 times that deals 50% splash damage and increases Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. His Glassification turns into a 5-hit Ice Melee Brave plus an HP attack 3 times that deals 50% splash damage and increases Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. It expands the chance to inflict paralysis to all enemies. The Plus version deals 4 HP dumps, and it includes everything that I mentioned in the previous sentence. His skill 2 gains 2 uses. It turns into a 5-hit Melee Brave plus an HP attack 3 times that increases Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack. The Plus version deals 4 HP dumps and increases Brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. Now, after you use the Plus version of his skill 2, or after breaking or attacking a broken target with his Brave Attack plus or plus command, or Light Blade, it grants the Plus version to his skill 1. Now, Kam now starts off with his overhead at the start of the quest for 6 turns. It turns into a 4-hit Melee Brave plus an HP attack 4 times that deals 50% splash damage after each HP attack and increases Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack. His Brave Attack +++ command now sets target's Brave to 0 before dealing Brave hits. Now his overhead now adds a 20% party Brave damage up, a 20% party HP damage up, and all enemies' magic attack down gets reduced by 40%. With his C90, his ZX ability increases EX recast gauge speed by 20% and then deals a 4-hit AoE melee Brave plus an AoE HP attack 3 times that increases Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack and inflicts the Ice Resist Down debuff to all targets for 4 turns after the first HP attack. Now it does grant an additional stack to the Etheric Regen buff, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. The plus version of his EX deals 4 HP dumps. The buff Ducal Charisma, hopefully I pronounced that correctly as well, adds a 20% self-ice enchant. His C65 got extended to 6 turns and adds a 35% attack up, now totaling 50%, and a 40% Brave damage cap up. His FR ability with Cypher as his partner is a 6-hit AoE melee Brave, plus an AoE HP attack 3 times that deals split HP damage. Now his FR conditions are as follows: a 20% increase when party attacks an enemy with a cannot act debuff, so that will also include the debuff from his BT effect, paralysis, confusion, basically anything that makes it so that the enemy cannot act will contribute to the first condition for his FR. Now this also includes during the chase sequence as well. And a 20% increase when party selects an ice ability or just dealing ice Brave damage in general. His BT weapon at base level is a 15-hit AoE melee Brave plus an AoE HP attack that deals split HP damage. It grants his BT effect for 6 turns and, while it's active and party acts against an enemy, inflicts the Bondage from Antiquity debuff to all enemies for 1 turn. At 0 out of 3, it becomes a 10-hit AoE melee Brave plus an AoE HP attack 2 times. At 1 out of 3, it gains an additional turn during the burst phase. His BT effect, which is also includes what he gets at 2 out of 3, is as follows. So, the party will receive a 20% HP damage up, a 20% Brave damage cap up. Now, whenever a party member acts against an enemy, it inflicts the debuff to all enemies for 1 turn. And then at 2 out of 3, the party will also receive a 50% Brave gains up and a 20% max Brave cap up. Now, the debuff that gets inflicted makes it so that the enemy cannot act. It also has a built-in 50% Brave damage resist down, and when expired, it triggers a trap after the enemy turn that grants the player ally with the closest turn order to act immediately after. So basically, it's like an El Nash treatment in some way, shape, or form.
Alright, so now we are on to Kam'lanaut, and I can actually wait to talk about him. Kam'lanaut is one of those, he's talked about for a reason, guys. he's talked about for a reason. First and foremost, when it comes down to his pro section, he has very, very good longevity when it comes down to his kit. Going from being very mediocre at his role at C80 to being an absolute beast at C90 with his BT and his FR attached to him as well. His ability to really be able to shut down a boss becomes even easier. Being able to have a group paralysis built into his kit, on top of that being able to delay, and another thing built into it too, his BT effect. That BT effect is very monstrous at keeping the enemies in check. The last one for sure is still talking about his BT effect. He has a lot built into that, ranging from Brave gains and Brave gains up to HP damage cap up. Like, he has a lot built into that BT effect. If there isn't a investment that anybody's making, this guy has the investments. With investments, he is very, very destructive, or very, very destructive on the enemy side and very, very beneficial towards the party side. But he does have his drawbacks. Moving into those con sections for him, when it does come down to him, he's very reliant on debuffs. If you cannot debuff a target, or if you don't have enough debuff slots on a target, it can be a detriment to his performance overall. You have to make sure that when you're using Kam'lanaut needs to be able to paralyze a target. He has to be able to paralyze a target, or his FR condition gets slashed in half. You need to be able to do that. The next one is that he's an elemental attacker. He is an ice enchant. He's a ice elemental attacker, and with that being the case, in the future we're going to be coming across fights where enemies will be very angry if you hit them with not the element that they're trying to showcase for certain units. Ice is going to be one of those elements that we'll be seeing a lot due to the future characters that are going to be coming up. But after a while, they're going to be resisting a lot of elements. And unfortunately, he falls to that category of being an elemental attacker. But it doesn't necessarily make him a bad choice still to bring to fights. It's just a lot harder to bring him in. And then the last one, where Paladin Cecil is very plug and play, Kam'lanaut requires finesse. If you're not playing Kam'lanaut correctly, or if you do not have a team dedicated to him or like dedicated around him, you will see that the damage output that he could be getting is going to be a lot smaller in comparisons. You're going to need an ice enchanter. You're going to need or like group ice enchant for one. Kurosame is pretty much going to be on somebody, preferably Kane in the air. Have that going. You're going to want to be able to launch, so you're looking at Sid Rain's Call or Sophie in the team, or as a friend support somewhere along those lines. You're going to definitely want to be able to play to the debuffs and play to his FR effect, because his FR effect is extremely strong, but if you cannot keep an enemy locked down, and if you cannot keep an enemy paralyzed, you're going to have a harder time with him more than anything else. But he is very, very self-sufficient at this, and he can do it all on his own, but he definitely needs help to keep the enemy back. So running him with the layers and running him with other units who ideally are able to keep the enemy back would help him out tremendously overall.
So now we're going to quickly take a look at the banners that is going to be dropping with these two BT units. With the Paladin Cecil one, Paladin Cecil's LD weapon would not be a bad pickup because you got that HP overflow, and it can actually come in handy in certain situations. Palom, you ain't got to worry about him. You can pass up on him. His call ability, his overall kit is, and I'm not really much of a fan of it. So, and I think many players can probably agree with me. I mean, there's probably going to be a small handful that might just call me out on it, but I'm just being blunt. So, and then finally with Rosa, her LD ability, or her LD weapon is not a bad one, but really the biggest thing that you can actually benefit from Rosa, especially for the 6 warrior fight that is attached to this banner, to these banners, is going to be the raise buff that she actually grants to her team. So that way, in case you actually go down from an attack from the enemies, the raise buff actually revives your team with up to 15% of their HP upon revival. So that's kind of like a small little convenience to have. But overall though, when it comes to the banner itself, I mean, when you really look at it, like, and especially if you're going to be pulling for Kam, I mean, like, the only thing that I would say that you could definitely benefit from this banner would definitely be like the Paladin Cecil and the Rosa. It just depends on like your situation, what's going on, like how the fight progresses and whatnot. But like overall though, it's not a bad banner, but I honestly think that the Kam banner has better value.
Next we have the Kam'lanaut banner. I think that when it comes down to the Kam'lanaut banner, I think it's a given. Everybody on this banner is going to be able to really be a very big benefit to the boss that you're going to be going up against with the 6th man. Cater is able to play to Kam'lanaut entirely. She has ice in her kit, and on top of her having ice in her kit, even as a call, she has the ability to give ice enchant to the caller. So she is very, very useful in multiple ways. Her LD debuff, if you guys did not pick it up earlier, is definitely going to be a freeze on the enemy. So as long as you have them at 0 brave, they will remain at 0 brave. Just keep that in mind though, when it comes down to that setup. Kamari, as much as I appreciate him, he definitely got a nice update with the C90. But when it does come down to him overall, he doesn't really play to Kam'lanaut's entire kit, but he definitely plays more towards the fight that he's being presented in. this fight you're definitely going to want to be able to dodge certain hits. And I can definitely tell you, with Total Darkness being there, you'll be safe to some degree if you don't have units who can give like group evasion or guaranteed hits. So when it does come down to Kamari, there are better units there, but Kamari does his role very, very well. Then there's Kam'lanaut himself. I think that goes without saying. Kam'lanaut is very good at what he does, and that C90 with his FR and his BT, it just makes him even more of a beast. So this one, for me, I'm looking at this one as an easy 4.5. Like, if we have to rate it 1 out of 5, easy 4.5. Like, I would have given it a 5, but it's like one of the characters still don't play too well to Kam'lanaut. And on top of that, like, if you're going to be able to shut down an enemy, you don't need to blind them. You can just paralyze them and you'll be good. So Kamari's nice here, but Hater is the major thing here, and Kam'lanaut is absolutely hands down one of the major benefits here.
So now we're gonna end off this video talking about who we are planning to BT plus. Kaida went first last time, so it is my turn to go first. So between both Paladin Cecil and Kam, like, I would actually, people are gonna be surprised by this, but I would actually consider BT plusing both. And the reason why I say both, because I mean, I know that the obvious choice is going to be Kam, and I mean, I will for sure be prioritizing Kam over Paladin Cecil. But like with Paladin Cecil, like, I mean, look, I've already greened Dragon. I already have people asking me to green like other random BT units that normally people wouldn't BT plus. And then with Paladin Cecil though, like I enjoyed his like good time of usage. That was a weird way of putting words together. And I enjoyed his kid. Like, I overall like really like what he brought to the table and whatnot, etc., etc. I do still think that he definitely has his uses. Is he like a priority as of right now? I'm gonna say no. But I could definitely see myself BT plusing him if I felt comfortable enough where I can throw my extra Ultima resources for him. But like overall though, I mean, the upgrades, I mean, like he's been needing them, and honestly I kind of wish that he would have gotten his BT plus a little bit earlier than some of the other units that we got going on right now. But like, since we do have Garnet, and I know she gets brung up in practically every BT plus video, but like Garnet does so much, and then like when you look at Paladin Cecil, it's kind of like you can stand over there in the corner and look pretty and provide whatever little ores you have, because you know Garnet will just be here doing her thing. So if I had the opportunity, I would BT plus Paladin Cecil, but for me, I'm definitely going with Kam. I BT plus him on my second JP account. I actually did not BT plus him on my main account, even though I did get his kit. I never actually built him, only because I wanted to prove that, at least to myself, that I was able to complete content without him, and which it is very much possible to do so. But like in general though, like for this roundabout, for my global account, I will for sure be BT plusing him, because I want to do all the fun shenanigans of dealing some high numbers while going into BT phase and having his FR active. So that's my plan. Kam first, maybe Paladin Cecil later on at some point.
I like how they said maybe later. Maybe. All right. So, I have Paladin Cecil's BT. Every single time I go into that BT phase, I get a copyright claim, so I'm going to put him on the back burner. But I will definitely say for sure, for me, I am definitely pulling for Kam'lanaut without question, and he is going to get the green without question. I think that when it does come down to him, though, Kam'lanaut plays to my playstyle very heavy. I don't mind letting the bosses act, because I have my Saga runner. And yes, Diva Supremacy is a thing. But the abilities that Kam'lanaut has, and his ability to completely shut down a boss entirely. He's not just able to do that in a single target fight. He's able to do that in a multi-target fight. So now, like, he works well in both single target and AoE setting. His damage can be a little bit higher, but like when it comes down to it, his ability and his utility in a team, it's very, very hard to not have that right off the bat. Like, we're still in early Shinryu, and being an early Shinryu, it's only going to get a lot more difficult later down the line. So I'd rather go prepared, and Kam'lanaut has a lot to his kit. Even if he is an elemental attacker, there's a lot to his debuffs, and his debuffs increase damage output for the team. I want debuffs that do that. And on top of that, I can easily pair him with other units that I really like working with. His high armor is a decrease, or enemy stat decreases across the board, and on top of that, the debuff high armor stacks. So if you put them with other debuffers like that, they work. But again, Kam'lanaut is a lot more finesse, and he's easier to play with as veterans. As newer players, though, I would definitely recommend looking into Paladin Cecil. Paladin Cecil can keep you guys alive without question, and when it does come down to it, Paladin Cecil is easier to put into a team, where Kam'lanaut requires a lot more finesse. But I'm going for Kam'lanaut. Please record Paladin's BT. Please record Paladin Cecil's BT theme. You will get a copyright claim. Kam'lanaut is very, you won't get one from Kam'lanaut. I can promise you that. There's a lot of people playing FF11, but in the DFFOO communities, there's 5 of us who still play. I'm one of those 5. I'm one of those 5. But you can find me on Asura, and yes, my name is still Caden Cortez over there as well.
Jeez.
I'd rather be able to speak the truth than not speak at all.
This is true. This is very true. So, with that being said, though, guys, let us know down in the comment section below what your plans are going to be for the next pair of BT Plus units, whether you are going for Paladin Cecil or if you are going for Kam'lanaut. So, I had to include that at some point. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, guys. Make sure to check out Kaiden's channel for his continuation of the debuff supremacy. And with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
He says that, but I end up I always get hit with the mother issues at the end of my videos. Thanks, Kadash. Appreciate it.